I'm in trouble, take ya. Someone tell me what's that. Nobody can change my mind. I believe you are able, more than able. Oh, so able, more than able. Say you are able, more than able. Oh, so able, more than able. There's no weapon fashioned against me shall ever prosper. In Jesus' name, if you set me trouble, take ya. Someone tell me what's that. Nobody can change my mind. I believe you are able, more than able. Also able, Lord, I believe you said more than able, also able, I believe you, sir, you are able. Yes, sir, I believe it.
Metro TV, insightful and inspiring moments.
Done so much for me, I cannot tell it all. If I had 10,000 tongues, it still wouldn't be enough. Really, when you hear completely. What shall I render to Jehovah? For he has done so very much for me. What shall I render to Jehovah? For he has done so very much for me.
Right, hello, good morning, welcome to the show. This is Good Morning Ghana live on Metro TV. It's a Friday, the 2nd day of July 2021. By His grace, we're live and we're here with yet another edition of the show. Our gratitude will go to the Most High God for the rare privilege of being alive, and of course, the opportunity of having another conversation around the top stories making around here in our dear Republic. I'll let you into our panel for the morning's conversation shortly. But let's take a look at the front pages of our newspapers. Daily Graphic, making Accra work. Massive cleanup at Agbogbloshie. Onion sellers move to Ajenkotoku. And I bet if elections were held in Accra today, Henry Kote will have a landslide. Will win by landslide. 5 grabbed with fake currencies at Dansuman. Appoint information officers to facilitate RTI law. 55,000 students to be offered scholarships. Ghanaian Times. Agbogbloshie market goes down at last, but not before fierce armed resistance from scrap dealers and others. 3-member committee inaugurated to investigate the drug route and killings. The drug killings, one more suspect in police group. Odo Okoli Lagoon undergo massive dredging to avert floods. Why do we dredge in the middle of the rains? Daily Guide. CJ bounces Opuni trial moves on. 3 probe drug mayhem. Gunshots great Agbogbloshie ejection. Dredge Odo Okoli Lagoon checking floods. Police zeroing on bullion van robbers. The new weekend crusade guide. Probe into drug killings commences. Government names Parliamentary down to 2 others as 3-member committee. Odo dredging 70% complete but could prevent flooding. Iona school Megis on HIV. I doubt carcass killing may be sanctioned by the state, Professor Jampo writes. The Insight. National Peace Council worried, says Ghana might suffer terrorist attacks from internal conflicts. Disregard false claims on top Kings Trasaco lands. Empire Builders urges Ghanaians. $170 million judgment debt. NPP fights NPP over GMPC contract termination. And the kind of documents that are popping up, I mean, makes this whole thing looks like one huge scam. The Informer. Investigations into drug killings. Experts, rather than government officials needed. Security Dawn advises. Senate saves $70 million through measure with NIA. Will support automobile industry. President declares. Commissions Toyota Suzuki Assembly Plant. Direct state institutions to purchase locally assembled vehicles in Ghana. Money laundering and terrorist financing in West Africa. Ghana taking off grey list as international community renews its confidence due to measures put in place. Ongoing 2021 census. Otunfor enumerated. Calls on Ghanaians to be patriotic and patronize exercise. The Inquisitor. Coming events. Travel at immigration. GJ presidential race. There should be integrity tests. Avail yourself for census. Napo to Ministerial South residents. NDC consoles families of victims of the drug killings. Odo dredging 70% complete. The Herald. Attorney General Mbwache Jako exposed Ekufado's cabinet after teaming up against Gloria Kufu on $170 million judgment debt. I wonder how people are able to sleep. Interior Minister names weaklings to probe drug killings. This description is a bit unfair, quite unfair. Supreme Court to hear how biased Opuni trial judge has been. Police allows Shatawale to market mobile phones despite COVID-19 restrictions, but caged against NDC's march for justice. The Daily Statesman. Entry down so 2 others probe drug disturbances. 450 million Ghana cedis invested in flood control. Baumia Hills Bank of Ghana game changer gold purchase. Agbogbloshie onion sellers moved, others to follow. The Daily Searchlight. 3 to probe drug violence as Occupy Ghana raises concerns of unlawful killings. Goal maintains dividend to shareholders despite COVID-19 down 10. I will start taking Kora mixture to look good. Otunfor said to the second. Kumasi High Court issues $15 million judgment debt over unlawful seizure of excavators. The Custodian. Fixing Accra on course as Minister relocates Agbogbloshie onion sellers. DML dredges Odo Okoli Lagoon against 2021 floods. Razak Kojopoku replies, fix the country campaigners. Baumia Hills Bank of Ghana for domestic gold purchase program. And Chidansu 2 others to probe Ejura killings. The Ghanaian publisher. Big Minister brings down Agbobloshi. Ghana scores 86.7% on GCI, ranked third in Africa. DML completes 70% of Odo dredging. It has capacity to prevent flooding. 3 probe Ejura killings. The Accra Times. We are compelled to ban excavators, Minister Jinapo. Zaneto schools Ghanaians on cyber security and data protection. Parliament needs memory bank, backbin. Dredging Odo drain ahead of this year's rainy season. Asenso Zaneto discussed solutions in Parliament. Kaka was killed for exposing development challenges in Ejura MP. Daily Post. Police refusal to provide security won't stop the March for Justice Demose's NDC Youth Wing. Odo dredging 70% complete with capacity to prevent flooding. Ejura shooting, sack MCE, prosecute accomplices, NDC delegation demands. Ejura killings, Justice George Kingsley Kumsin chairs 3-member committee of inquiry. Business and Financial Times. Odo River, Kole Lagoon, well dredged in anticipation of rains. PURC goes digital to take timely utility decisions. Ghana ranks 6th as major global destination for U.S. expatriates, first in Africa. Coca-Cola donates 745,955 cedis to COVID-19 private sector fund. Significance of population census in national development planning. That's a feature in today's edition of the paper. EU ban lifting to boost FDI, Sofriata. IEPA takes off. Freight forwarders threaten to picket against shipping lines. And that's about it. For the front pages, we'll be back shortly.
In Ghana and in Africa, there is only one place to look to get that luxurious design and decor for your offices and homes. Visit Jamila Home. We give you the climax of luxury wherever you find yourself. Presidential and executive office furniture, living room set, dining set, stunning mirrors, adorable wallpapers, lovely king and queen size beds, valuable antiques and antique goods, beautiful chandeliers and more. Into the bargain, we provide caring customer service, prompt delivery service, skilled and artistic full house design and decor services, and free decor ideas for your space. Our products and service is unparalleled, boasting of top-tier clients all over the globe. Jamila Home, home of first-class quality furniture, beautiful chandeliers, and antiques.
Did you know that cloth handkerchief gets dirty and wet after wiping your sweat or blowing your nose with it? Keeping a dirty handkerchief in your pocket or bag is very unhygienic. Reusing it increases your chances of getting sick from germs. That is why I always use Flora disposable handkerchief. Flora disposable handkerchiefs is disposable, thus making it a more hygienic option. It's thick and very absorbent. With 10 tissues in a pack, Flora disposable handkerchief is better than a cloth handkerchief.
Mommy, my Flora disposable handkerchief.
Look out for Flora toilet roll, Flora multi-purpose paper towels, Flora table napkins, and Flora box tissues in a shop near you. For bill purchases, call Delta Paper Mail on 0243 033 033.
The average human body mass should have at least 60% water for optimal performance in any physical or mental exercise. We can help you maintain it naturally. X Natural Mineral Water. Simply natural.
to reach out to. Right, welcome back to the show. If you just joined us, this is Good Morning Ghana live on Metro TV. The show is brought to you in kind partnership with X Natural Mineral Water. With me on the show this morning is a very, very good friend of mine. He has not been on the show for a while. Richard Asante Yeboah is a Deputy Director of Communications for the NPP. Good morning, Richard.
Good morning, Doctor.
How have you been?
By the grace of God, we are holding on to faith and then still supporting the government and our party. I'm working for the party as well.
Okay. You're working for the party?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Is the party working for you?
Obviously, it's working for not only me, but the entire population.
Is the government working for you?
Obviously, yes. At least there are a good number of things happening that, as an individual, I do benefit in terms of the kind of enabling environment that have been created for businesses to thrive.
Okay, all right, okay. Well done. All right. Also with me on the show this morning is the Member of Parliament for the Northtown constituency, the baby assassin, Sami Okujeto Ablakwa. He's also the ranking member on Foreign Affairs in the Parliament of the Republic of Ghana. Good morning.
Good morning, Doc. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
And Richard, it's been a long time.
Oh, yeah, my brother.
You are Vandal mates, right?
Yes,
I've been hearing of my brother all over the place, and I get excited.
You're proud of him?
Of course. There are some of the issues you see that he goes overboard and try to over-milk it. You realize that...
You complaining about somebody going overboard and milking.
Should we remind you of all your shrine petitions? I honestly think that my brother Richard deserves better.
He says he's on retirement.
He deserves better.
He's not written a petition in 5 years.
No, but I think he deserves better reward from the MPP. I mean.
Oh, he says he's been well rewarded.
No, we expect better. I mean, they were in the trenches working very hard, sacrificed a lot, personal resources and all of that.
When you know a student politician that has grown in leaps and bounds and got into the national level and having work as a member of parliament, a minister and all that, you realize that in terms of understanding the choice of words and also how to patronize you politically. My brother is...
Oh, you believe he's patronizing you?
He's...
So you believe you don't deserve better?
Obviously I do, as an individual. But the point is that everybody deserves better. But I also want to say that...
Richard, allow us to talk for you.
Maybe I don't can I free you?
But I think, Randy, I'm happy. I'm happy for my brother. I think we've known ourselves over the years, and I see some of them, and I get excited where they've gotten to, and the sort of spirited performance they put out in terms of wanting to chase certain causes that they believe in. I think those are the things that we can do. I mean, there will be excesses in the scheme of things when, particularly, you have a political environment where there's competition that you need to sort of outshine the other. Some of those things would happen along the line. But I do, all in all, do like his attitude towards matters of the nation. There are things that he goes chasing, and sometimes you don't get to hear much about it again. I remember something about, is it bond? I mean, some petition here and there. I think the day that he did it, the following day I was with him on your set, and we spoke about it. I've been following his exploits closely.
You followed the Norway one too?
I followed that one too.
Okay.
And recent past, he's busily chasing things in the air.
Yeah.
I'm
not the one showering.
Is there one man no bath?
And that's where you see the mischief and propaganda aspect of.
We can't have one man, one bath. Everybody for bath. Well, today is the 43rd birthday of one of the sharpest, smartest, very, very intelligent lawyers in this country, as he has brains 3 times bigger than his age. Well, Kisi Ejaben, the special prosecutor nominee, who's also the managing partner of Cromwell Gray LLP. Today is your 43rd birthday. So happy 43rd birthday to you, Kisi Ejaben. I don't know when it's going to be grilled by Parliament. Okay, anyway, you are no longer there, so you will know.
I can only wish him a happy birthday.
Okay, and you know, a very good friend, Dr. Kingsley Nyako, is laying his dad to rest this weekend in Kumasi. We'll probably give you that day. Also, so that's Kisi Ejaben. He's 43 today.
Very smart.
Yes, 43 yesterday. And just to remind you that he's an old student of Accra Academy.
Oh.
Just to remind you, yes. So, Kisi, happy birthday to you. All right. Okay. So I'll give you details of Dr. Kingsley Nyako's dad's funeral over a weekend in Kumasi later on. But, Sammy, yesterday, my producer sent me a document. It's actually something written by you. When I saw your letterhead, I said, what is this younger brother of mine up to again? You know, and it's actually a memo on your letterhead to Honorable Sir Chairman Sabonso, Majority Leader and Chairman of Business Committee of Parliament. And you've copied Right Honorable Alban Suman Kingsford Bagbin, Speaker of Parliament. We'll see if we can put it out there for you to read as well. Honorable Harun Adrisu, Minority Leader and Ranking Member of the Business Committee. And the date is 1st of July. And the subject, undue and offensive ministerial delay in responding to an urgent parliamentary question in flagrant violation of Order 64 of the Standing Orders of Parliament. And it reads, I convey warm compliments. Respectfully, this memorandum serves as another reminder to the Business Committee of Parliament that an urgent question which I filed for the Honourable Minister responsible for Finance, Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta, to respond to the cost of President Akufo-Addo's recent official travel to France, Belgium and South Africa, and which was duly submitted by the Right Honourable Speaker since the by the Right Honourable Speaker since the 1st of June 2021, in conformity with Order 66 of our Standing Orders, remains unanswered. It is worthy of note that the Business Committee had earlier programmed Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta to respond to the question in issue on the 17th of June 2021. Same was then advertised on the Provisional Order Paper of 16 June 2021. As is now known by many, on the morning of the 17th of June 2021, the day the Finance Minister was originally programmed to provide a response to my urgent question, I was informed by the clerk at table that the Finance Minister had requested for more time. Therefore, the question had rather surprisingly been delisted from the set of questions scheduled for the day. Interestingly, the Finance Minister availed himself the same day to respond to other questions on the floor of the House. The request by the Finance Minister for more time now appears to be in perpetuity, as all efforts I have made on the floor of the House over the last 2 weeks, anytime the business statement is presented, to demand answers as to why my urgent question no longer features in the business statement for ensuing weeks, have been met with unsatisfactory responses and vacuous assurances without specific timelines. With all due regard, I do not need to remind your esteemed committee that our standing orders under the provisions of Order 64 are unambiguous, that urgent questions have a strict window of 10 working days within which they shall be responded to. That window has long elapsed. It is imperative that an unfortunate impression is not created that the Parliament of Ghana is happy to undermine its own constitutional mandate of oversight by appearing to be assisting ministers evade accountability and in the process weaken the democratic efficacy of the legislative arm. I'm also deeply concerned that Parliament seems to be creating a category of a super minister who is not subject to the standing orders of the August House. Why should the Finance Minister be given the latitude at his own whim to respond to an urgent question whenever he so desires? The matter gets even more offensive when one considers that I filed 2 urgent questions at the same time with both being admitted by Mr. Speaker on the same day, and yet the Defense Minister is appropriately made to respond on the 16th of June 2021, while his colleague Cabinet Minister, Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta, is allowed to treat Parliament with such utter contempt. With all deference, the Business Committee of Parliament must not be seen condoning this unacceptable conduct of the Finance Minister, which ought to be seen as a grave affront to Parliament. Needless to add that developments of this nature in a matter of immense public interest only help to erode public confidence in the legislature. The entire Parliament of the Republic of Ghana cannot be reduced to a puppet institution that works according to the dictates and pleasures of Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta. In any case, what can be so complex about computing bills already paid for? May I humbly serve notice that if the current contemptuous hijack of Parliament by the Finance Minister is allowed to fester, a good number of my colleagues and I will not hesitate to exercise our mandate under Article 82(2)(b) of the 92 Constitution to initiate vote of censure on the Finance Minister. Respectfully submitted. This is quite a strong letter with some very strong words to the Business Committee. What has made you decide to write this letter in this manner with this tone to the Business Committee of Parliament?
Well, thank you, Randy, and good morning to all our viewers. I was left with no option but to send this memorandum to the Business Committee. As you do know, the Business Committee is a committee of Parliament that schedules ministers and carries out the larger function of programming the business for the week. That is the business that Parliament conducts. So every end of week, if we are sitting on a Friday or if the week ends on a Thursday, depending on what is happening on a Friday, the business statement is presented by the chairman of the Business Committee to provide notice to honorable members of Parliament on the business for the ensuing week. So the Business Committee is responsible for ensuring that when the Right Honorable Speaker has admitted a question, they proceed to carry out their duties under our standing orders to program that question in relation to this specific matter in issue. Now, you will recall that the Right Honorable Speaker admitted the two questions I filed on the matter relating to the charter of the most expensive and the most luxurious jet, the ACJ 320 Neo, when the presidential jet, in my view, was available and in good condition. So to settle the matters, two questions were filed. One to the Minister responsible for Defense to respond to the state of the presidential jet, the Falcon EX900, and whether the presidential jet is airworthy. Then the second question filed on the same day was directed at the Finance Minister to provide the full cost of the President's recent travels to France, Belgium, and South Africa. The Speaker, in conformity with Order 66 of our standing orders, a copy I have here, admitted the questions on the 1st of June. Order 66.1 provides, Mr. Speaker shall be the sole judge of the admissibility of a question. So it's only the Speaker who decides whether your question will be admitted or not. Order 66.2 further provides, when a question is admitted by Mr. Speaker, the clerk shall at once communicate the text to the minister or member to whom the question is addressed. 3 says there shall be a questions record book to be kept by the clerk, which shall be open to inspection by members. So the communication is done by the clerk to the ministers. The business committee originally schedules these 2 ministers. So the defense minister was in Parliament on the 16th of June to respond. Finance minister had been programmed for a day after the 17th of June to respond. It was advertised in the provisional order paper for the 16th of June. Per our rules, at every day sitting, in order not to surprise MPs, we must be given the provisional order paper, which is the business for the next day. So that was well advertised, and we were all expecting the finance minister to come respond to the question. 17th June arrives. I receive a call very early in the morning that the Honorable Minister for Finance has rushed to Parliament asking for more time and that he is not ready to provide answers, despite the fact that he had been given ample time.
But last week we found out that Parliament itself sent the letter. The Minister of Finance received it on the 14th of June. So the request for extension of time on that day, the 17th, cannot be blamed on the minister.
We have heard that. I think it was our good friend Abdul Malik Kwekubako who provided that. I have pursued that information, and it appears that Parliament has not really been forthcoming in my pursuit. But even accept that, let's take that he received the notice on the 14th, so he couldn't respond the 17th. I will have thought that these are bills you have paid for already. Just tally them and come present. So fine. If you say that 17th is too short a period and you have asked for more time, if you do the counting per order 64 of our standing orders, the 10 working days has long elapsed even after the 14th that you received the notice. Because I am being generous even with the 10-day window. The 10-day window is for we MPs who filed the question. When you receive it, you have 7 days as a minister. And I can give you the provision, order 64.3. It says, the clerk shall ensure that the notice delivered to him under paragraph 2 of this order is communicated to the person required to answer it, not later than 7 sitting days, exclusive of any Saturday and Sunday or public holiday from the date of delivery. So if you want to file an urgent question, you should make sure that as MP, you give yourself some 10 days so that the 3 days is allowed for speaker seeing it, admitting it, and then the clerk communicating. But as soon as the clerk communicates, per order 64.3, the recipient has 7 days. The minister has 7 days. So from 14th, I had to send this memo on the 1st of June. There have been 2 business statements after, more than 2 weeks. And anytime I've raised the matter on the floor, the majority leader will say that, it will be answered, it still needs more time, just give us more time. And you ask for a specific timeline, that more time, what does it mean? What is the specific timeline? We are not being told. Just vacuous assurances. And that is why I've had to send this, because how do you think even the defense minister will be feeling? The questions are filed on the same day. He comes to respond. And we are setting such a bad precedent where we are creating a super minister, as I say in the memo, where the whole of Parliament, this whole arm of government, the institution of Parliament, becomes a puppet to just one minister. He decides on his whim and caprice, at his pleasure, when he will come and respond to a question. And it appears that the chairman of the business or the majority leader is helpless. And he can't give you any dates, any timelines. This is Parliament. Parliamentary question time is so important in other jurisdictions.
Is this not the same parliament that threatened the health minister? That if he failed to report to Parliament on a particular date, he was going to be censured or something?
Exactly. Yes.
It's the same parliament.
It's the same parliament. And I know of other ministers. Even this week, the sports minister was late to answer his question. He was queried by the minister.
By the speaker?
By the speaker, sorry. His explanation was that he was on his way when he received a call from the Jubilee House that the president is meeting with our Olympic team before they depart. And as sports minister, he has to be there. So he abandoned parliamentary business and went to attend to the president's call. The speaker told him in clear language, your colleagues, the press corps was there, clear language that you cannot treat parliament with such contempt, that this is your last warning, and that your primary responsibility is to parliament, because that is the house of the people's representatives. And this country is the people who are sovereign. So why should a minister, one minister, the finance minister, just treat us with such contempt? I know there was a day, this was even under Professor Okwe, a minister had been scheduled to answer a question and was not in the house in the morning. We were told he was on some assignment. Professor Okwe asked that the minister be summoned, and the minister had to report later that day and was made to answer the question before we rose. So speakers have taken a very strong view, because question time is so important. It's one of the tools that members of parliament have to exact accountability. In other jurisdictions where they operate the parliamentary system, prime ministerial question time, even prime ministers don't have an excuse. Prime ministers who are primus inter pares, who are heads of state, do not have an excuse. And they cannot decide when they will come and answer questions at their own pleasure. Parliament is not for the Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta, with all due respect. It's not an appendix to his office. It's not like one of the departments or the unit in his office. He cannot treat us like that. The sovereign parliament, 275 members of parliament. He cannot.
But why do you blame him?
He just cannot treat us this way.
No, but you can't blame him.
Why can't you? Why? Is it because he's the president's cousin or what?
No,
Why?
you cannot blame him.
Why?
Because Parliament is clothed with power, authority, and jurisdiction. If it fails to exercise it the way it should, you don't blame a beneficiary, quote unquote, of that.
Well, it is the reason why in this memo I served notice, and I've spoken to a good number of my colleagues who are in full agreement that if this continues, we will pass a vote of censure under Article 82 of the Constitution. If you look at Article 82 of the Constitution, it says, Parliament may, by resolution, supported by the votes of not less than 2/3 of all members of Parliament, pass a vote of censure on the Minister of State. 2. A motion for the resolution referred to in Clause 1 of this article shall not be moved in Parliament unless 7 days' notice has been given of the motion. And we have given the notice. B. The notice for the motion has been signed by not less than 1/3 of all members of Parliament. Since we became a House of 275 MPs, Speaker Okwe ruled that 1/3 is 1/3 of MPs is 97. We are 137. We have the numbers to initiate the process, and let
me find out from you. Per your standing orders, if the business committee does not do what is expected of it, do you have any remedy per your standing orders? Is there anywhere else you can go? Can you bring the speaker into this?
Yes, it's the reason why I copied the speaker
but your leader is also part of the business committee.
But he doesn't lead. And you notice that on the floor, he has had various concerns. He'll be complaining. And speakers have said, but you are the ranking member. And it's all because Yes, you're a ranking member, but you don't. It's like and this whole overbearance of the executive, where Parliament is becoming subservient, or has become subservient, very weak, and you have the majority side always wanting to make the House a rubber stamp. That has been the challenge. So I don't blame my leader at all. This is just one person, ranking member. What can he do? You know, and I am glad though that last night the information I had is that the Speaker has taken a very serious view of this matter and has actually called the clerk at table that the minister should not go beyond next week, because the Speaker is quite upset about what is going on. Because to be fair to the Speaker, one of the days the business statement was presented, when I raised concern that the question has still vanished, it's not featuring on the business statement, he then said that he will make sure that the finance minister responds, that you can't ask for more time in perpetuity. The Speaker himself said that.
Are you not also interested in talking about the sanctity of Parliament and the assertiveness of Parliament? The processes are as important as the outcomes.
Yeah.
Are you not interested in finding out why Parliament delayed until the 14th of June before delivering the notice to the Minister of Finance?
Yeah, especially when both questions were filed on the same day,
Admitted
same day. Defense Ministry got theirs.
Yes.
How come Finance Ministry is claiming that they got theirs on the 14th? So I've been asking. I've been to the table office. I've spoken to the Director of Legal Drafting, the clerk, Mr. Jetro, who handles questions, and it's not clear who is responsible for what. And I think for obvious reasons, probably somebody is being shielded. I don't know whether it's a case of the person who caused the delay in Parliament, or if this claim by the Finance Ministry. We don't know if the delay came from the Finance Ministry. Probably it had been submitted, but whoever at the Finance Ministry was to bring it to the Minister's attention delayed. So this whole matter, I agree with you that there should be some inquiry of a sort, internal, quiet inquiry, because this is a matter of high public interest. And parliamentary question time is such an important function of any parliament in the world, of any democracy, that we cannot allow these bottlenecks. How come just one ministry, they alone claim they didn't get their question on time? And it's very unusual. Very, I mean, I've been filing so many questions. Even this week, there was a question to the Lands and Natural Resources Minister on the banning of excavators. You don't hear these tales about questions came late, we couldn't find it, we don't know when it was delivered, who delivered, and all of this mystery that the only question directed at the finance minister has been shrouded in. So I was left with no choice than to issue this memo. Fortunately, later this morning, the business statement for next week will be presented. And I want to see if the business committee will be assertive and will heed the Speaker's directive after this memo was written. I just hope they'll do the right. If not, they can expect that we will continue to pursue this matter. Because I don't know if the finance minister is hoping that some way, somehow, we will just be distracted and forget and let it slide and let him get away. How can you do that?
You see, Sammy, I pointed this out to you earlier, and I'm going to do the same thing again.
Yeah.
The finance minister by himself cannot frustrate the work of Parliament.
Is he not the one who asked for more time?
Yes, he asked for more time because the same Parliament brought the notice to him on the 14th.
Is he sure about that? Because Parliament has not confirmed that. I have been
checking.
But
you see, the fact that Parliament has even not been able to confirm to you should make you worried.
Anyway, you have a point.
It should make you worried.
You have a point.
And you see, if the business committee of Parliament is unable to assert itself and do what it's clothed with the power and jurisdiction, you ought to focus on them. Because like I say, the finance minister is not the one who determines for the business committee
what
they should do.
Is that not the reason my memo is directed at the business committee? And for the last 3 consecutive weeks, anytime the business statement is presented, I rise to raise concern about this matter, this business of more time. I've been asking, what does more time mean? And especially within the meaning of Order 64, which is very, very clear, that notice of intention to ask a question shall be given by delivery of the question in writing at the office of the clerk, table office, on a day not later than 10 sitting days, exclusive of any Saturday and Sunday or public holiday, before the day on which the sitting commences, at which it is proposed to ask the question. So we have a narrow window, a very strict window for urgent questions. The process, right from the filing, should take only 10 working days, exclusive of weekends and public holidays. And this has long elapsed. So I mean, I disagree that we should blame only Parliament. Because Parliament had initially done its work, has scheduled. It's the finance minister who asked for more time. Now more time, we don't know what it means. And more time within the context of an urgent question. It's a very narrow window. If you say you received it on the 14th, 7 days. That is just for the sake of argument. Let's grant him that he truly received it on the 14th, which is always a matter that is worth investigating. The 7-day window that you have upon receipt has long elapsed. It should not have gone beyond the 21st. Today is the 2nd of July. So we cannot keep weakening, because it erodes public confidence in our parliamentary democracy, in the institution of parliament. And it's as if we are so weak. I mean, it used to be that we are just so subservient to the executive. We want to catch the eye of the people go to parliament to catch the eye of the president. Now it's like we are even becoming weaker to a minister, not the president. This is even worse, where is the minister of finance who just dictates, makes us his puppets and decides what he wants to do. Totally unacceptable.
All right, we'll take a break. On return, we'll take Richard's view on this, and then there's another issue that went on in Parliament this week that we'll have to look at as well.
Football pa and nothing a high sense as sponsor Euro 2020 Edia Maono Nisa Suntina Yatiti TV so say who Edia Maono a high sense Euro 2020 TV super promo Kahuan Kwajo brand new high sense TV and board that for pictures near clear na color near deep sound quality this so dear one it here high sense TV so dear entry power about down one access you are akona utusa abefu 18th June, I confirm 11th July. A Hisense Hero 2020 TV Super Promo. Emma Refisa, Hisense and Kwan, Emma 5 years warranty. A Hisense Hero 2020 TV Super Promo. A Kosowa Hisense showrooms, a Wagana Fananina. What you dear Nansenya? Hisense, everyday prices for everyday people. Hisense, official sponsor at the Hero 2020.
Did you know that cloth handkerchief gets dirty and wet after wiping your sweat or blowing your nose with it? Keeping a dirty handkerchief in your pocket or bag is very unhygienic. Reusing it increases your chances of getting sick from germs. That is why I always use Floral disposable handkerchiefs. Floral disposable handkerchiefs is disposable, thus making it a more hygienic option. It's thick and very absorbent. With 10 tissues in a pack, Floral disposable handkerchief is better than a cloth handkerchief.
Mommy, my flower disposable handkerchief.
Look out the Flora toilet roll, Flora multi-purpose paper towels, Flora table napkins, and Flora box tissues in a shop near you. For both purchases, call Delta Paper Mill on 0243 033 033.
Right, welcome back to the show. If you just joined us, this is Good Morning Ghana Live on Metro TV. Shows brought to you in kind partnership with X Natural Mineral Water. Still with me on the show, I've Richard Asante Eboa and Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa. Yes, Richard. Parliamentary inertia or Parliament's inertia.
I think reading my brother's memo to the business committee and also listening to him, I don't think we need to split hairs in terms of the times and whatever delays that he speaks of. I do believe that there ought to be genuine reasons why there has been any delay, and those ought to be communicated to Parliament so that Parliament could know and understand what is actually going on. But there's another aspect of this story which I think that ought to be looked at in totality. I had I think it's our friend and also Bakal Juni, we used to call him Honorable Paul Chumberima, MP for Doma East. Was also filed a question demanding the chartered flight from 2013 to 2016 when President Mahama was in the helm of affairs. When I heard that, and I wanted to understand what was it, and reading the story, my understanding was that he also wanted to appreciate whether indeed there's the need for the country to consider the possibility of getting a more suitable flight or airline that could, or a jet that could help deal with all these issues, so that this constant chartering of planes and all that will not continue as we've seen in our history. I do believe that all those questions ought to be brought to the fore, so at least we can have a broader discussion in the scheme of things. And I would want to believe that Speaker of Parliament ought to equally get the Finance Minister to possibly present an omnibus sort of answers to all these things, so we can have a proper analysis and understanding of
but that's not how it should be done.
No,
there's a specific question.
I do believe I agree. I remember I've already spoken about the fact
so you let them
there's
answer.
a question.
There's another one. He
yes,
can come and answer.
I agree.
If Parliament thinks that should be the basis for a debate on that, that's fine.
I get to, but I also think that if there's a room to sort of put all together and provide one-time answer, not necessarily going and coming, I think to help the discourse. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't take anything away from the sort of answers that it seeks for. And I think all of us are interested. We want to understand that what is really going on in all these areas. The only thing that I do not like from my brother's submission had to do with how certain things were put across. I mean, the choice of words. I mean, that, because the president's, I mean, those things are, I mean, intangible that we need to. No, you spoke when you're explaining yourself here. I think that we need to desist from that. I think that Mr. Furiata, as an individual, has exemplified himself in whatever field that he's worked for in this country. And I think he's a man of his own. So when issues come and it bothers on him as an individual, let's deal with it and cut off these aspects of insinuations and trying to portray that this person is trying to take advantage of anything. Unless there's a genuine basis for that, I also want to ask this question, Randy. Doug, is it the first time there has been such an incident where a minister in our history is asking for time to respond, or one excuse or the other has been proffered to Parliament? There will be countless. But you see, the way we are portraying this, it might not be good. And we need to find a proper solution to that. Yeah, we also want to understand from the angle of the minister.
Me sitting here. Yeah. If Parliament of the Republic of Ghana is supposed to provide oversight, as I sit here, I have voted for people to go to Parliament and for them to provide oversight as far as the executive is concerned. If by their own rules, a minister so informed has 7 days to come and provide the answers in Parliament, I should expect that my Parliament will be assertive and do what their own standing orders say and get the minister to do what is right.
I agree with you perfectly, but
the fact that somebody has done it or will do it tomorrow cannot be an excuse why the Parliament of the Republic of Ghana will not do what its own standing orders say it should do.
I do believe in your
I even referred to the health minister when Samuel was speaking.
Yeah, I do.
Whether it is the same Parliament which threatened the health minister.
I think there's one thing that we need to understand here. If there are no reasons, and it is obvious to the entire Parliament that the finance minister is trying to spit in the face of members of Parliament or Parliament as an institution, then all of us would want to come out strongly and condemn him. But if there are not reasons in that regard, and we are not certain, you do not know, but we try to sort of create all kinds of impressions, including saying that the finance minister sees Parliament as a puppet, and that's what is manipulating Parliament. I don't think it is fair to the discussion that we are having. You have reason to question why the delay, demanding answers, asking that this issue ought to be dealt with urgently, so that you can bring closure to it. But that does not give you the right to cast insults and insinuations. Because there are some of the things I think that it is not fair. Of course, if somebody is a man of his own, and you think that the person is not doing A, B, C, D, but the reasons why he's not doing that because he has a president as his cousin. I mean, I don't think I would say that to you. That you have not done A, B, C, D because this person, you are related to this person. Let's judge the individual by the content of the person's character without overstretching our hands into all kinds of things. And I think that is not fair. It is not fair. We can deal with the issues without marrying all these things into and garnishing it to sort of create some. I do believe that I agree with him that it's kept long. Answers ought to be given. I also have heard that another member of Parliament that has also put forth a question asking for the cost of the chartered flight used by President Mahmoud.
To who?
To the finance minister.
Yeah, so he should come and.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So I do believe that, in my sense, I do believe
it's not
that
by your sense, unfortunately, Richard. Parliamentary work is guided,
of course,
by their standing orders.
And I think that
just hold on. The standing orders prescribe how things should be done.
I think we are speaking from the same
angle. So see, if a person has asked a question, let the minister come and answer. If somebody else asks a question, if the minister has to come to Parliament every week because there's a question for him to answer, so be it. But the rules don't allow what you are trying to prescribe.
And I'm not sure the rules also, there's anything explicit in the rules that says that a minister who has been asked 3 or 4 questions cannot put all together if all of them occurred within a period where he's yet to appear before Parliament to provide answers to the 2 questions. I don't think there's anything that bars a minister from doing that.
In this specific case, he cannot do that.
I don't think there's any rule.
I'm saying that
in the parliamentary procedure, unless you are ready
he cannot do that in this specific case because, just hold on.
You respond to
because the questions were asked at different times.
Yeah.
I agree, but if
a time frame within
if Parliament has equally sent him this second one in addition to provide answers to that, and he comes to the floor.
So what's the point you're making?
My point is
that is delayed because he's waiting to compile
I don't know the
votes.
reasons for this delay. I don't know. But I'm saying
I want to understand what you're saying.
What I'm saying is that if indeed this issue is being occasioned by certain delays, which all of us are not aware of as we sit here. My brother here does not know. I do not know. I don't think we know. Whatever we are doing, is speculation. And I am also thinking aloud, saying that if this question has equally been thrown to the finance minister and is yet to provide answers, if Parliament had communicated same to him, I would, if I'm in the shoes of the finance minister, I'll provide answers for the 2 questions to the floor of Parliament, so that we can have a broader discussion in the context of this jet matter and bring closure to it. That's my point.
Okay.
Doc, it is important for me to emphasize that in this country, nobody is above the law. Not the president, not members of Parliament, not chiefs, nobody, absolutely nobody. When we talk about the rule of law, when we talk about a constitutional democracy, what it simply means is that all of us subject ourselves to the rules. What applies to the Minister for Defense must apply to the Minister for Finance. What applies to the Minister for Youth and Sports this week, where he was chided, must apply to every other minister. And I must insist on that point. Then again, we must elevate our politics and stop this attempt to equalize at every opportunity, even when there is no basis for equalization. So we are seeing clearly what the strategy is now. Let's delay this question. Let's get an MP on our side to file a question, and let's see if we can combine the two. Where in our standing orders does it say that if you are not comfortable with a question, engage in such subterfuge, engage in such violent,
there's no basis
violent violation, flagrant disregard for the standing orders? There's nowhere in our standing orders. So, look, we either want to be a constitutional democracy, or we want to be a banana republic, where there are some special breeds, some citizens who are above the law, who can do whatever pleases them.
But that's unfair. I'm not sure anybody's breaking any laws.
In my brother, going on the tangent of this should be an opportunity for us to look at this whole charter business. He says I wrote it, the constant charter of presidential jets. My brother, I've been following, I've done the history of this matter, even from the Nkrumah era. No, there is no constant charter of presidential jets.
So President Mao never chartered any
aircraft? I have in my hands here, only this week, the Director of State Protocol, when he heard about this counter question that had been filed, he said that, look, he has been on a quiet retirement, but he could not help. Let me just read the first paragraph, and I'll go to it. He says, last week, I thought I had taken time off to celebrate myself on my landmark birthday. I was having a great time with my family when I was struck by a news item that made headlines. In spite of the oath of secrecy that goes with the office I occupied before, I felt duty-bound to respond to the news. Readers may recall the raging controversy surrounding the cost of a luxury private jet leased for the president's travel to France and South Africa. I would not have made a comment had an honorable member of parliament not filed an urgent question in the House for full disclosure of details, including costs of presidential travels between 2013 and 2016, using leased private jets. The question itself makes me feel very sad for this republic, where our best effort is to score the equalizing goal. If only Kotoko had learned that lesson, our proper attention and progress is sacrificed by justifying an event of today by pointing to a similar event of yesterday. Ghana does not deserve the politics of equalization. It's like a thief caught in the act and whose only defense is that another person stole last year. So don't hold me responsible. Our MPs are referred to as honorable, and we expect their actions to be equally honorable. In this particular case under reference, unfortunately, the MP is only doing fishing by casting his net.
Fishing with a PH.
Fishing with a PH, yes. By casting his net wildly in the hope that he may catch some stray fish. If he had any concrete story to tell, why would he not save us all the headache? The motive of the question smells of subterfuge and deception.
How?
My reason is that I was in a position to know from March 2011 to September 2016. Listen carefully. I was in charge of presidential travels. President Atta Mills never traveled on chartered private jets. Never traveled
This
on.
question is 2013.
President Atta Mills never traveled on chartered private jets. Whenever we had to travel beyond the range of the Falcon jet, we went commercial. Travels to the USA were made on Delta Airlines. As far as I can recollect, under President John Dramani Mahama, there was only one instance. Only one instance.
So there
is no constant charter of presidential jets. Only one instance where a private aircraft was used. We went to France for one of those France-Africa meetings. We traveled by the Falcon, which dropped us off in Paris, and proceeded for its regular scheduled maintenance. After the meeting, we proceeded to London by train, where the world received with shock the news of the passing of former President Nelson Mandela of South Africa. Funeral arrangements were ongoing, and we continued our journey to New York to fulfill a pre-arranged engagement. We traveled by British Airways. By the time we arrived in New York, the burial and funeral dates had been fixed to be held in 2 days. Given the time available, we arranged a private jet, a Bombardier, very similar in size and function to the Falcon, not the ACJ 320 Neo luxury presidential jet.
I don't know what was chartered. Was there chartered?
Yeah, Google the ACJ 320.
So long as there had been a chartered.
Please. You talked about constant. These are your words. Constant.
Of course, in our
charter
history,
of presidential
it's not the
jets.
first time President Mahama wasn't the first.
Please
to have
listen.
chartered
That has been
was
exposed.
restricted to his presidency.
So within that 2013.
Let me conclude the article. Bombardier, very similar in size and function to the Falcon, seating 17 persons to fly the delegation from New York to London, Johannesburg, and Accra. It is my fervent hope that this information helps to clarify issues. One day, and so is my dream, when the Ghanaian people raise questions about particular issues, it is expected that the people will be treated with respect and not by the practice of obfuscation and fishing. People should learn to carry their cross and do so gallantly. This way, we will be able to collectively discuss our other matters relating to the age, size, range of our presidential jet. Ambassador Tinkram. Brilliant piece. Brilliant piece.
It will be for you because it fits into your.
No, what? No.
I mean, you
know these career diplomats, former, representative to the UN, former ambassador to Kenya, he's had many portfolios. These are not people who hardly break their silence. They like to retire in quiet, and it should tell you how nauseating our politics is becoming. That if you have diplomats of this pedigree, of Ambassador Tinkram's pedigree, to rise to head Ghana's protocol directorate, break their silence in this manner, it should tell you that, look, let's elevate our politics. Let's do things right.
If I get you,
I have
saying that when you ask the question,
please,
it demands answers.
Please, when you are speaking,
and it is fair.
When you are speaking, I don't interrupt.
Because
I have not said. I have not said here, Randy. Have I said that the honourable Chumberima's question should not be answered?
But you downplay it through what you read.
Because that's the effect you wanted to cause. In your submission, you introduced this in your submission.
I said I've equally heard this.
Seeking to even argue that the finance minister should be made to lump the two questions and to come and provide some general response on what you claim to be constant charter of presidential jets when there's no such thing.
My challenge.
Let's show respect.
My challenge to you is that when you ask a question,
let's show respect.
When you ask a question and you demand an answer, you think that people should see your question to come from a very good sense, wanting to sort of know things that the public would equally be interested in. But when a member of parliament who is your colleague equally asks questions in similar fashion, you want to adduce all kinds of reasons. I mean, it's unfair.
I'm responding to
it's
your
unfair.
claim. Your claim
no,
of
it's
constant
unfair.
chatter of presentation.
It's unfair.
Ambassador Tinkran has exposed the falsity in your claim.
I was expecting you to say that during President Mohammed's time, I do not know the number of times he had the opportunity of chartering a flight. I don't know whether he did. But I'm saying that if
so why did you say constant?
Of course, because we had these stories. We've heard it. I mean, even in public discussions, we had, oh, this is not the first part, this person has done this person has... We've heard all kinds of things. And I'm saying that if indeed there has been such a scenario, and a colleague member of parliament who's an MP asking similar questions, let's provide answers so that we can understand. When I read the report from the question that he filed, what he seeks to achieve was want to know whether indeed there's a need for the nation to look beyond the policy. What all the things that we are discussing, you look at it and it has political undertone. The idea is to undo the other, try to portray somebody to be bad and doing something bad. And I'm saying, you know what? If these questions are out there, there are two questions that have been asked. If there's opportunity to provide answers to the two, let same be done, so that the public will understand and appreciate what is going on.
Right.
But for you to go and read some 10 pages article written by a former, I mean, it's good. Let's all contribute our views to societal development. But the point is that all these questions must be answered so that we can understand what is going on.
The bereaved member of parliament for Kwadaso, I'm sure he should be around the morgue by now, but he's watching Good Morning Ghana, and he sent one. That's Dr. Kingsley Nyako, MP for Kwadaso. He says, my brother Honorable Ablakwa should be a bit circumspect how he is handling his urgent question to the finance minister. He is senior in parliament and knows our procedures of engagement. He is doing well, but must have faith in the leadership of the House, especially Mr. Speaker. Last week, Mr. Speaker explained to the House that the Minister of Finance has asked for extension of time. What Ablakwa must do is that at the discussion of the Business Committee report today, he can ask Mr. Speaker the status of his question. If it's not captured for next week's sitting, he should respectfully cut out the populism appeals. He should use the floor of the House. He shouldn't create the impression that this is unusual and that it's the first time.
Dr. Kingsley Nyako has admitted that he is new in the House. What has been the practice is that when ministers ask for more time, they do so in writing and they give a specific date, very narrow. And even that is at the discretion of the Speaker to grant it or not. That has been the practice. We are in uncharted waters. This is the first time a minister is asking for more time and asking for more time and keeps asking for more time, and we don't know.
So how many times has he written to Parliament asking for more time?
It's been verbal, because anytime I raise it at the business, when the business statement is presented, and all the things Dr. Kisinyako is saying I should do, I have done that. He knows that I have done that at least on 3 occasions when the business statement has been presented. I have risen to ask when the question will be programmed. I have.
Okay.
So, look, let's not encourage wrongdoing. What is wrong is wrong. Let's not create a super minister. Let's not create a country where one minister just tramples over the standing orders, over the constitution of Ghana, and gets away with it.
Two questions must
we will not accept that.
So like I said earlier on the program, Dr. Kingsley Nyako's lost his dad.
Condolences.
The funeral is this weekend. His dad is an ex-sergeant Emmanuel Bamfo Nyako. So he's a soldier's son. So that explains why So his late dad is ex-sergeant Emmanuel Bamfo Nyako. He died at 74. And so he will be laid in state tomorrow 5 a.m. at the Trinity Presbyterian Church, Kwadaso. And the burial service is at the same place at 8:30 a.m. Trinity Presbyterian Church, Kwadaso in Kumasi. And he will be interred at the Kwewu Kwaman in the Eastern region. Okay, so his dad is a Kwewu. Okay. And The final funeral rites will be at the Christ Apostolic University College campus behind the Church of Pentecost, Kwadaso. That's from 12:30 p.m. So all this is on the 10th of July. Sorry, 10th of July, not tomorrow. 10th of July.
So that's next week.
Next week, Saturday, on the 10th of July. And the Thanksgiving service on Sunday at the Trinity Presbyterian Church as well. So our commiserations to you, Dr. Kingsley Nyaku, MP for Kwadaso. My Ewa project is still outstanding. So remember that as well. Now, Sammy, you're beginning to be an MP for urgent questions.
The man is on rampage.
He asked one of the Lands and Forestry Minister. We played it yesterday. We're going to play it again. He has to do with the question had to do with the legal and policy basis for the burning of excavators. And the Honorable Minister Samuel Abu Jinapo, MP for Damongo, spoke on the floor of the House. So that's a question to ask the Minister for Lands and... All right, okay. They just keep the thing, so I'll leave it like that. Maybe we'll just play the interview that Honorable Jinapo granted the media after his answer on the floor, and then I'll take your views, whether Honorable Blackwell, you're satisfied with the answers, and what Richard thinks about it.
The military services of our country is to decommission and demobilize equipment, and I emphasize on that, all equipment which are used for mining illegally in the red zones, our forest reserves and our water bodies. That is the instruction of government. The security services then employ their own measures, whether it's through burning, it's through removing of parts, or what have you, to ensure that these equipments are demobilized and decommissioned so they don't have the opportunity to use them to perpetuate the illegality again. I also went at great length to establish, beginning from 1775, when Lord Bransfield, CCJ, gave a case in the Holman case to establish that a cause of action cannot arise out of an illegality. And our courts themselves in Ghana here, the Supreme Court itself, has also established, unequivocally and emphatically, that one cannot ground a cause of action arising out of an illegality. I concluded by saying that Article 36 of our national constitution bestows a sacred duty on the government of the day, to take all measures necessary to protect the environment, and that the measures that are being undertaken by the government today are geared towards the satisfaction and giving effect to Article 36 of our constitution to ensure that the national environment is protected.
Right, so that was the Honorable Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Samuel Abu Jinapo, speaking to the media after he had answered the urgent question filed by the Honorable Samuel Okujato Ablakwa. So Sam asked the question, Sam answered the question. Is Sam okay with the answer?
Doc, I'm certainly not okay with the answer.
I was expecting that answer.
And I intend to take further action. I intend to take further action on the matter.
Further action?
Yes.
Ask another question.
No. I've had discussions with my lawyers, and we will pursue this matter further. Look, we are all concerned in this country about the state of lawlessness. Even the security matters that we'll be discussing after this, it's all about lawlessness. It's all about disregard for due process. And officialdom should not be at the forefront of perpetuating lawlessness. That is what this burning of excavators is about. My question, which I pose, Very simple question. Towards the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, the legal and policy justification for the banning of excavators in the ongoing fight against illegal and small-scale mining, also known as Galamsey. 9-page response, Randy. And you heard the minister. He could not provide any law in Ghana.
I think it's better you say you are not satisfied with
He could not,
please.
He could not provide any law in Ghana that justifies. The state cannot be using illegality to stop an illegality. Article 1911 of the Constitution is very clear. You cannot be imposing sanctions when there is no law that gives you the right or the mandate to do that, when no law has been prescribed. And you see, Randy, what is even more troubling, heart-wrenching, Randy, is that what the state is doing, this lawlessness, it comes at a cost, at a huge cost. There is already a judgment debt, and I brought it to the attention of the minister in my first supplementary question, that what you are doing, would it not bring more judgment debt? Because I went through the minister's answer that he gave, all the laws that he quoted, the case law, the authorities, and all of that. This Eston Cubic, Attorney General versus Faro Atlantic, Takrady mines, all the laws that he quoted, they made the same case in this judgment, a copy of which I have here. Heritage Imperial Limited versus the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources and the Attorney General. As recent as 13 August 2020, the judge, Justice Samuel Obin Diewu, sitting as Justice of the High Court, ruled on these matters. In the judgment, he threw all of this, all these cases and all this government, he threw it into the dustbin. And actually took the state on that they should stop this lawlessness. If you look at page 26 of the judgment, because you don't have time, I'll just read brief portions of it. It says, look, therefore, it did not lie in the mandate of the Interministerial Task Force of the illegal mining to seize the machinery and equipment of the plaintiff. Even if out of overzealousness, the committee task force was minded to seize the machinery and equipment, per the provisions of the law, those equipment and machinery were to be kept in police custody, pending any prosecution of the culprit, because the law is that it is only after the court has convicted the culprit that the court shall proceed to confiscate the machinery and equipment to the state. That the defendant's representative is fully aware of the rigorous procedure to be followed in the event of any breaches of the law regarding prospecting and mining for minerals is beyond any shred of doubt. The judge continues. From the above answer, he concedes that granted that the plaintiffs were engaged in any illegality, the law did not permit the seizure and sale of his equipment and machinery by the Interministerial Task Force without any order from the court. And this is as recent as 2020. We did this since 2018, 2019. Just took people's excavators. The Minerals and Mining Act, which we amended in 2019, is very clear. Take the items, police custody, proceed to court. The court will grant you orders. And then you can do whatever. It's now yours. You decide what you want to do with the excavators. What is so cumbersome about this? Simple procedure. Now, this argument that you came to provide in Parliament, which the minister keeps telling the press, it's not as if it's not been tested. I would have taken it easy on the minister if it's not been tested in our courts. So that is his opinion as a respected lawyer. We can probably even consider, cut him some slack. But the matters have been determined. And I first heard about this case listening to Dr. Randy Abe on Newsfire. And I was like, wow, so there's even already a judgment debt. And what I was even more shocked about, is that the Attorney General was on the show. And he didn't seem to know that the judgment debt has already arisen out of this lawlessness by the state. He didn't know. And he confirmed again on Bernard Avle's interview that he didn't know it was Dr. Randy Abe who brought this to his attention. And you see, what even makes this matter more bizarre, Richard, is that after the state went in all these 1756 authorities and Lord Denning and General Barker Energy and all this long talk, and the judge threw all of this into the dustbin, they couldn't even go back to appeal. They had no confidence in their case. They couldn't appeal. So I hold in my hands here, Richard, a certificate of judgment.
Executing it.
As recent as secured on the 18th day of May.
This year.
18th day of May.
When the appeal period
yes,
long lapse.
When the appeal period lapsed. And the state could not go on appeal.
So
there's now certificate of judgment. And listen to what it says. I hereby certify that judgment was entered for the plaintiff as follows. A. Declaration that the invasion of the plaintiff's mining site and seizure of his excavators and equipment is unlawful. B. Recovery of the sum of 15,304,714 United States dollars and 20 cents.
That's 90 million Ghana
yes,
cedis.
Over 90 million Ghana cedis. Woyome, we were singing the songs, composing all kinds of songs. It was just 51 million. This is nice, and I'm not saying that Woyome is right or there's any justification. I'm not defending that.
In the dollar terms then.
Yeah, but look at this. Over 90 million Ghana cedis. Let me continue. Being the value of machinery and equipment seized from the plaintiff's site by the Interministerial Task Force on illegal mining on 6 December 2018 or its current value in cedis. That's not all the damages there are. C. General damages of 500,000 Ghana cedis. D. Cost of 100,000 Ghana cedis to the plaintiff. Put all of this together. And the taxpayer, the struggling taxpayer who can't have access to water, struggling taxpayer who is looking for a borehole, who is looking for beds in our hospitals. Imagine what this almost $16 million can do. And the judge says, giving under my hand and seal of the High Court of Justice at Kumasi on Tuesday, the 18th day of May 2021. Signed, Josephine Eshiren, Registrar. This is the certificate of judgment.
It's sealed.
Yeah,
it's
sealed. It's sealed. It's a done deal. We have to pay. We have to.
Million Ghana.
We have to cough up this, and we are still justified. I thought that this will have been the question will have been an opportunity for the minister to come and do a mea culpa and say that look, upon reflection, we got it wrong. And you see, there's nothing wrong. Look, let's set high standards. We can all get it wrong. I've been a deputy minister before for 8 years. I don't think that all my actions or pronouncements, why? We are fallible. We are human. Is it because the president went public to defend it? I mean, everybody, look, legal luminary, Chachu Chikata, has said that, look, this is nonsense. Those are his words. Don't do this. Occupy Ghana, CDD, Imani, civil society organizations. Look, all lawyers who are speaking on this matter are ad idem. That this is just lawlessness, it's recklessness. Stop it. And then you come to Parliament after all this, after this judgment, and you are still defending this. Still defending this. And you wonder, do we love this country at all? We love this country.
You see, Richard, on this issue, it's true
maybe
that
we should start surcharging. Yeah. Look, Doc, I think we should start surcharging public officials who cause this judgment.
It's true that I raised this issue on Newsfile when we were discussing the excavator, because in the course of the research for the program, then I found this out. And you know what intrigued me? Look, when the Ministerial Task Force started their job, and they started taking these excavators to private places, the issue of what the law prescribes was raised. And it was made clear that, look, the law says that it should be in the custody of the police. We sat in this country, and people who have been appointed into public office told us that the police lacked the capacity. The police of the Republic of Ghana, who are in every district in Ghana, they lack the capacity to take custody of these equipments. And that is rather a party vice chairman who is an auctioneer somewhere at Abilinkme. He has capacity that the Ghana police does not have. And so although the law says that let the police take custody of it, and the law shows you that if you want to dispose of the thing, go take the people through the process, get them convicted, come to the court. The court will give you the right to go and dispose of it the way you want. We said that although the law says keep it in the custody of the police, we understand the law better than the law. And so we will be able to give a different interpretation to who should have custody. Today, somebody is going to court in 2020 over these missing things. We are unable to identify the things. You have sold the things when the law, first of all, the law tells you in whose custody it should be. You breach it because you understand the law more than the law. The law tells you how to go to court to get the court to grant you permission to dispose of. You understand the law more than the law. You didn't do that. Now somebody goes to court. They say, okay, so where are the person's equipment? You can't find it. We put human beings in charge. You can't find it. And for that reason, we should go and pay 90 million Ghana cedis. When this judgment came in 2020, mid-2020, we had the opportunity to appeal. We didn't appeal. And like he said, when you read the case, all those authorities cited in the answer to Parliament, they were cited in the case by the Attorney General.
Page 6 to page 9. You see all the...
And the period for appeal has elapsed. And so this is a certificate of judgment. This money is binding on this republic. About 90 million Ghana cedis. Look at how far we went with this Woyome thing. Going to identify properties. Going for auction. And all those things. Over 51 million. I'm not saying it's important. I played a key role in the Woyome thing. But look at this. Because we believe that we understand the law more than the law. The human beings we put in charge of the excavators, where are they? Whose 90 million should be used to pay for this thing? Whose 90 million?
There must be surcharge. There must be
Whose 90 million? We put human beings in charge.
It's just terrible. It's terrible.
Maybe you can help me.
Yes, sir. Look at all the cases are here.
I honestly do believe that this Galamsey and the effort being made to try and protect our water bodies and our foreign reserves ought to continue. Because of the cost to our very existence as a people and even the unborn generation. Because we realize that in the eastern region or Ashanti region, some kids were born and they came without ears, nose, mouth, and all kinds of things because of the impact of the chemicals used in Galamsey and also in our water bodies. It tells you that the impact is dying and the cost to the nation and our very existence is extremely expensive. I equally do believe that things ought to be done within the confines of the law, that we will not go out there and do things. I do not know the particulars of this particular case because I've not read it. I've heard snippets of it, and I think the first time I heard it was your good self when you were on a newsfire doing what you do best when issues like this comes up. And I give up to you. I remember the Woyomi's time. He literally became a Jackie Chan of Woyomi affairs.
He was a star performer.
Yes, of course. So when I saw the same from you, I decided to pay particular attention to that. I do not know the particulars. I do not know whether this case is situated in the context where the people were mining in a water body, or they were mining in a forest reserve, or they were just having their concession somewhere and doing their mining, and the people who went to destroy the activities or took their machines thought that what they were doing was illegal, and they did not resort to verifying or checking whether indeed they have permit to do whatever they were doing. I think that we need to look at that and assess that. But as a businessman and understanding the cost of machines, I do believe that people who are able to invest in these machines ought to look at things very well. And also, I also believe that state people have been entrusted with the law to handle matters like this need to understand some things. Because when I see excavator being set on fire, particularly those that were not in a forest reserve or in water body, I'll be angry. Because I do believe that there ought to be other measures to deal with that. But there are situations where you listen to the ministers and those who have been given the authority to go and fight this canker. They tell you that, you know what, initially these excavators were not being bent. The whole effort is to demobilize them, make them inability to move or to be used for whatever activities for which these things have been sent into the forest or to a water body to be used for. But they realize that when you get there, the people have already done that, demobilized it by removing the control boards. Once the control boards of these excavators or these heavy machines are removed, you cannot move it. You cannot operate it. You cannot do anything with it.
And then they'll come back.
Then you go. Then they come back at night, face the things, and cause worse damage to the environment and the water bodies, costing the country. We know their Ghana water, some of their plants and other things have been broken down. They are not working because of this phenomenon. So you realize there was a major challenge as to how to deal with it. I've been asking myself.
So Richard, my issue is simple, you know, and I think that all of us have studied public policy.
Yes.
There's a reason why we always review things. So if you look at this particular law, it's gone through one amendment after the other.
Yeah.
And you would see that in implementing, you see, when we have a problem, we want to deal with it. And so we look at how the law can help us deal with it. In implementing it, we come back to review, to ask ourselves, is it working or not? We realize it's not working. And then we decide to amend the law. Because we believe so. And that day on Newsfile, I read a statement when the Council of State called on the President, how he spoke about this amended law in glowing terms, and how he believed, especially the part that took discretion in terms of jail terms or sanctions from the judges, and gave specific terms so that the judges could not bend it and all that, you know. So my point is that if in practice we realize that the issue of seize, take to police custody, is not working, and that burn on site is what will work, what do?
You incorporate it.
Go and amend the law, and let that action be backed by the law. Same way you've always gone back to amend the law on the basis that you see some loopholes.
See, I get you. I've also heard people quote various aspects of the Constitution to buttress their point, and I would want to study this
as if
that principle of state policy and other matters.
Because the Minister, Honorable Jinapo, raised the same issue, and Honorable Asifwa Vincent Otafo MP is raised the same thing. He says that it's falsehood that there's no law in this country to form a legal justification for the banning of excavators. So aside the constitutional mandates under the directive principles of state policy, there are judge-made laws or case law that corroborates the actions of government. Articles 36 and 41 should be read for my senior brother Okujeto again. The popular Latin maxim, ex tepi causa non orita actio, meaning from a dishonorable cause an action cannot rise. Now I ask this question. 1, what would an excavator be doing in River Ankobra? 2, what would Shamfan be doing in Brim River? So the combined effect of section 36 and 42 is enough to give both legal and policy justification for the state to protect its environment. How do you seize an excavator when the motherboard is taken away? Criminal Law 101 would also indicate to anybody who cares to know about the rationale for punishment and its principles. Some punishments are meant to serve as deterrence et al. Good morning to you, especially my senior colleague Samuel Kujato. On a lighter note, you should tone down the spinning. Now, you see, my question to those who raise these issues is that didn't we know all of this before we went to enact that law? Didn't we have all this before we went for the amendments?
But see, Doc, I also agree that, you see, no right can accrue anybody who uses a particular instrument or machinery to sort of commit a crime. For instance, if you take excavator and into a water body or a forest to do things that the law does not allow you to do. I hope you're getting me. I also share.
I hear those who say that. But my question to you is, if there is a law, there exists a law. I'm not talking about a situation where there's a vacuum.
Yeah.
When there exists a specific law, which says that this is what you do
to be done
in a situation like this.
I think you are looking at it in explicit terms.
I'm saying there's a law, and the president himself, in as part of this fight, has had another amendment.
Yeah.
During GM's time, they had an amendment.
Yeah.
There's been another amendment, and the president, even when he met the Council of State, spoke about that amendment and how they've had to even take the discretionary power from judges and had fixed them so the judges could not determine what to do and what not to do. So I'm saying that there exists a specific law which tells you what to do in situations like this. Why would you say that, irrespective of that law, there is a combined effect of some two clauses of the Constitution?
You see, my point here is that, that's what I said to you, that perhaps we might want to look at the particulars of the case where the state lost. And
the state made the same argument.
I'm coming. The particulars of it.
Yeah.
Whether indeed the person that the site that we are talking about was situated in a water body or in a forest.
All those arguments that they didn't have a prospecting license.
I'm not even looking at
say that they were not legit.
No, I'm saying that were they operating in a water body, were they operating in a forest, we need to understand that. We need to equally understand the kind of argument that were used by the states in that regard. I do not think that the two cases will be the same. In the scenario where we are looking at people mining in water bodies or mining in a forest that has been conserved, and there are laws guiding how to go in there and do whatever it is that needs to be done. So we need to understand that. But there are other issues that come to mind when we are looking at this. I think we've been beating ourselves over the years as politicians in the fight against Galamsey. I do remember that in the period of his former president Mahama, we had a team that was supposed to deal with this Galamsey menace. Excavators were equally bent. We saw it. They came through, they did all kinds of things. Even in certain cases, you realize that the people who have been sent out there to go and fight it, when they get there, they get compromised. And they do all kinds of things that are not within the confines of the law. So people's actions and inactions might have caused the nation in this fight against Galamsey. When it comes to the MPP's first term, I think similar things can be said about certain actions of certain individuals who were placed in a place of responsibility to act, including the Operation Vanguard and all that, some of the team members who were out there. And the fathers, we heard even some of them protecting Galamsey site and all that. We are hearing all kinds of things. But at the end, we need to take a stand on these matters. We need to understand one thing, that one, we are fighting our very survival as a country and as a people, and also looking at a few people enriching themselves, because I would always embrace a concept that seeks to protect the vulnerable members of society than a business person or an individual who goes out there with the intention of mining in a water body or doing Galamsey in the forest reserve, where our water bodies have been destroyed to the point that certain parts of the country, people cannot get drinkable water. That we are looking at importing water. I mean, that ought not to happen. So whatever measure that ought to be done, however, those measures ought to be situated within the laws of the land. I do believe that it is high time we all come together, because the only way we can succeed in this fight against Galamsey is when all the political actors, both MPP, NDC, and other smaller political groupings come to appreciate that where we are, we cannot have divided minds in terms of what we are doing. I agree that there are few areas that people do disagree in terms of how the machines are being handled and all that. We need to also find a way around it and come to the conclusion that indeed, I share in the opinion that, one, from what I see and from my readings of the law and my understanding, there ought to be provision, and there are provisions to deal with these matters. Those have not been tested, as I know. Somebody should know it has been tested in this case where the state lost. But the point is that because some of us are not aware of the particulars of this case, is it that these people were mining in a water body?
My question is, you see, and I keep going back to the amendments.
I agree
that there's a particular
it ought to be explicit without looking at all.
During GM's time, he thought that the law was inadequate in dealing with it. He made amendments. Nana Akufo-Addo comes. He also thinks that, look, there are some loopholes. He goes for amendments. My point is that if after the task force, he realizes that, look, this issue of the dictates of the law in terms of confiscate, send to police custody and all that, it is practically impossible because of the example like people take motherboard
and you can't move them
and you can't move them. What do you do? The same way you thought that the sanction regime was inadequate, this thing given to the discretionary power given to judges was being abused or misused. So we should go for some specificity so that they cannot, go around it and all that. What is so difficult about going back to Parliament to say that, look, in practice, we found that this process is so laborious and the people have found a way around it and it's counterproductive. So we want to amend it to read this way. Is that not I think more simple and straightforward than asking us to look at combined effects of constitutional clauses?
I think I can share in that opinion because you want
the Latin maxims. Why do we make simple things complex?
Randy. Okay, you let me come back to it. You see,
small Makola.
We'll have to learn some more Latin.
So you know the point here.
Some French to it.
I think that we have a major challenge in our hands here, and at every step of the way, we realize that people were allowing their personal interest, wanting to enrich themselves, to take a center stage. When you across the machines, you're able to across them and move them out of the site. People, they get missing, as you have been told. When you take them to a police station, sometimes similar thing happen. Some of them are not found. Some of them people go and they release it to the people and it gets back into the water bodies again. When you go, the people have taken motherboard away. The machine cannot be moved. I think, and we also see the mess these people are causing to our water bodies. I think that we need to take a point, and I think that the point taken by the government is a laudable one. We need to appreciate and look at under the challenging circumstances what we have in our hands and how we can deal with this matter. I do believe that we need to support the president and the minister for the kind of work they are doing. If there are other advice in terms of wanting to make things more explicit in the law, I would also go with same. That you know what?
I told the
you need to go and read all.
I told the honorable minister that this argument and this disagreement and confusion over this law, for me, is rather clouding an otherwise very good attempt at reviving the fight against Galamsey. And I think the minister is doing extremely well. And so far, it appears that he has the president's full backing. And so I do not see why they would allow this controversy, because if you even listen to those who speak against this thing, they are largely people who are in full support.
Yeah. But their point is
of a renewed fight. Yeah. But they are saying that just do it in a tidy manner.
Yeah. I mean, we all support.
I don't see why we should allow this part to rather be in focus.
So your suggestion is that the laws ought to be amended to incorporate that line.
Just do it.
Ban the machines.
If the law,
when they are found in
the law as it
you want that explicit.
See, you give me a practical example and say that, look, the law as it exists is not feasible. That's the argument I hear people make. It's not feasible. I say that it is for the same reason that we've had amendments upon amendments. And so if you think that the law as it is now, with respect to the equipment, is not feasible, what you do is to go and amend it further. But don't come and tell me to look at combined effects and add Latin maxims and go read case laws as far back as 1748.
I mean, those are just to give you sufficient grounds for which these actions have been taken. But the point is that I equally agree that if same can be made explicit in the law, so that individuals reading it can understand that these are the standards. But I think that the idea is to send a strong signal. I think in recent past, we are not hearing of burning of any excavators because the people themselves have advised themselves.
Yes, you see, you can see that sadly.
But they are not going to the water.
You see that sadly, the information is gone down to them that don't burn again. So you don't see burning again because it's not as if they are not.
But the people are not taking.
It's interesting you say that because
you can see. When was the last time you saw videos of anything being burnt?
And the people are taking their.
Maybe it's the public acknowledgement, which nobody will get.
I'm saying that you are realizing that people are taking their.
Because the minister, I listened to the minister carefully in Parliament. He never used burning.
Yeah, he was avoiding
decommissioning and demobilizing.
But I mean, make sure the thing cannot work again.
I mean, he's a brilliant guy. I wasn't surprised that he was decommissioning and demobilizing the question.
Awesome. I think he understands the work that is, and it's clear in his mind. That's what makes me happy.
He's a focused person.
He comes in and says, you know what, tree planting.
It's doing well.
Over 5 million trees have been planted.
He, Henry Quote. I mean, it's not to suggest that others are not working.
But I think,
they have found themselves in difficult terrains, and they are doing.
I think Henry Quote is just a blessing that the country have not gotten opportunity to enjoying over the years. We need people like this and characters like that. The kind of attitude, his demeanor, the posture, the sort of focused attitude that he's using in the work that he's doing. If we have people doing that across the length and breadth of the country, we will see results. We saw Dr. Okobo try that. He did his bit. But you are seeing him escalate that energy. And I do believe that we ought to support him. Let's provide all the support that he needs. And I think people need to understand and appreciate that what the man is doing is making sure that our country become better. That's all what he's doing. So people should look at it and support him. I mean, some people, economic circumstances will be tight. Because particularly when you are supposed to do business where you ought not to do, it will be tight. Where you build your house in a waterway, it will be tight. I think that he's exemplified himself. He's shown that he's not only a giant in stature, but in terms of his brains, he understands what the work that has been given to him. And he's doing it. And I do believe that these are the kind of people that we need to encourage with the work that they are doing. Because my point is that when you are appointed by a president to be representative and work in a particular area, you do not need any additional motivation apart from prayers from God and blessing from God and support of the population. You do not need, because you've been given a clear mandate to work. And I think that he's been doing it from the day he was appointed. And he's shown it. He's ready to do it. And I like the engagement that he does. Bring assembly members together, former mayors together, members of parliament together. He's making sure at least he's really the people behind him. And I think he's been an excellent individual.
Right.
I think kudos to him.
Right. Before we take the break, Abdul Malik Kwekubako had brought this earlier. You know, it says, admittedly, it is legitimate for a Blackwa to lament or complain about the delay in answering his urgent question, especially after June 14th. He knows that what he's complaining about is not new, though a bad practice. So Hansard will show he, Blackwa, and other MPs have had the opportunity to raise issues about delays and even disappearances of questions from other papers. Ask him if he remembers his take on similar issues in the House on July 28, 2017. That's my mom's birthday. Okay. So his MPs across the divide should direct their focus on the Speaker for the latter to shake the Business Committee into action. Right. We'll be back shortly.
The search for a reliable partner in dealing with your U-turn bus needs has been made easier and convenient with SA Automobile. SE Automobile, formerly Uton Ghana Limited, has been in the business of offering quality Uton products and services at competitive rates. At SE Automobile, our team of expert staff, management, engineers, and mechanics professionally deal in the sale of Uton buses, genuine spare parts, its repairs and maintenance at a highly effective workshop with remarkable speed. We also have available the sale of Camel car batteries, Weichai and Kia spare parts, Zonton coaches and light duty vehicles for everyday movement. Contact us on 020 000 0831 or 054 555 7500. You can also email us info@seautomobilegh.com or visit our website at www.seautomobilegh.com. SA Automobile, the pleasure of doing business with you is all ours.
Ghana is a beautiful country. There is so much of it you probably haven't seen, haven't experienced, haven't touched, haven't felt, haven't eaten. When this is all over, let's discover our land again with new eyes. Let's feel each other again. We are one people, brought together by destiny. Let's make that count. Let's show love for each other and our environment. Let's tell our stories, and let's watch and listen to our stories. There will be so much to tell. Ghana is a truly beautiful country. Be Ghana, stay in Ghana, experience Ghana, make Ghana great. And we will invite the world to come and experience Ghana too. But for now, stay home. Brought to you by the National Film Authority. Supports the Stay Home and Discover Ghana Later campaign. This channel supports the campaign.
God bless our homeland,
Right, welcome back to the show. If you just joined us, this is Good Morning Ghana live on Metro TV. Still with me on the show are Richard Asante Ebua and Samuel Okujetu Ablakwa. The show is brought to you in kind partnership with X Natural Mineral Water. Okay. So, Sammy, kindly accept my commiserations on behalf of the board and management of Metro TV, the production team and all of us. We found out that you lost your dad. And that's true. I don't know why, for somebody who is very, very active on social media, it appears that the event occurred about 48 hours ago. You have not posted it, but we have heard it. And so our commiserations to you on the loss of your father.
Thank you very much. Your ears are too wide and long.
No, look at the size of my ears.
I think I would want to equally express my condolences to my brother, that took heart, and also to the entire family. I don't know whether you are orphan yet, but I'm an orphan. I've lost both parents.
No,
so
I still have my mom.
I'm the senior orphan.
So
yeah,
you're lucky.
Randy is senior.
But whatever be the case, I think MPP, our membership, will come in our numbers and Deuteronomies at the funeral.
The funeral?
Yes.
Just because you
COVID
want to breach the
protocols.
protocol?
No.
No.
We'll be there.
You want to deliberately breach the protocol so you can add him
to the Sir John narrative.
Because I like his poster during after Sir John's funeral. So we'll be there in our numbers.
No, at the time I didn't know this would be 4 months.
So it's unfortunate we're laughing about this, but you know, any reason why you didn't want to disclose?
If you've noticed on social media, private family matters are kept out. Yeah, I keep these things private. 74.
74.
Yeah, unfortunately was sick for a while since he returned from the States.
Okay, he was living in the States.
Yeah, for many years.
Okay. I know you're a strong guy. I mean, for a person who take on your business committee, you're a strong guy. You survive. Don't worry. And since your mom is around, you're good. When my dad died, and President Kufuor called me, the first question he asked is, "Who mami tiasi?" He said, "Yes, only problem."
And I was not like my mom went first. But I was lucky to have my father around for quite a long time because he died at the age of 114.
Wow.
I lost my mom a year after my dad died. So next year is my dad's 10th. And the following year is my mom's 10th.
Wow.
So we have some anniversary.
Oh, yes.
We'll come.
You know, as for where I come from, you know that we don't...
Yeah, they just have to block the streets.
We don't chili. You want a Bojo party?
Oh, yeah.
You have one, don't worry.
Me talking to my boss that his mother's 1 year anniversary, I'll be there 3-4 days before time.
All right. Okay, so the year 2021, in my view, hasn't been too good for the military in terms of the optics. From the night of the 5th to the 6th of January in Parliament, inside the chamber, to what we witnessed at Ejura and to Wa yesterday. And we'll be showing you some of those footages. But the Ghana Armed Forces has issued a statement. It says soldiers involved in the disturbances at Wa to be disciplined. Okay. And when I finish this, I have a question. That says that the attention of the military high command has been drawn to a video which has gone viral. In this video, some soldiers based in Wa, the regional capital of the Upper West region, are seen molesting civilians in the city without any provocation. This unprofessional conduct took place on Thursday, 1st July 2021, and at a time when the commanding officer of the soldiers and the chairman of the Regional Security Council were both out of town on official engagements. Internal disciplinary measures have been instituted to deal with all those who will be found culpable in this unprofessional conduct by the soldiers. In view of the seriousness of the matter, underline that, in view of the seriousness of the matter, the Chief of the Army Staff is leading a high-powered military delegation to Wa to meet the traditional and opinion leaders to find an amicable way of resolving this unfortunate incident. The delegation will also explore means to assuage the anger of the people and promote good neighborliness. The Ghana Armed Forces once again wishes to assure the people of Wa and the general public that their safety is paramount at all times. As such, would not condone any unprofessional conduct by any member of the force, and is signed by E. Agri-Kwashi Kennel, Director of Public Relations. Now, I love the alacrity with which the military has responded. So my question is that they can respond to a video that has gone viral. Has the military high command not seen the video of a Jura gone viral and the image of a soldier kneeling and aiming at a level which suggests that he was shooting into the crowd? Has the military command not seen videos gone viral about the invasion of the Chamber of Parliament? Is it an issue of the military choosing what to speak to and what not to speak to? I don't know. But Richie, let me start over with you.
I think when I saw the video from what I think I was honestly upset. And I don't want to mince words on that. And I do believe that we have this in our society over the years, and we are not dealing with them as it ought to be done. I do believe that the military has their internal mechanisms as to how to deal with these issues. But when they've punished such people who misconduct themselves, same is not brought before the public for the public to appreciate, so that we know that indeed these individuals are being punished. Because in our history, We've seen military people either beating, abusing, doing all kinds of things to civilians. There are even instances where the military have had occasion to go out there and have some fisticuffs or beating some police officers and other colleagues within the security system. And that has come to our knowledge over the years, and I think that whatever that is done, if anything is done to them at all, the public has not been aware of that. Because we've seen that there are several of such issues around. And I do believe that we need to deal with this issue. And what makes the situation worse is when politicians come in, it turns it upside down. Because for this, no matter the offense of whoever they were pursuing and the people that they were punishing and beating out there, I thought that they didn't deserve that. If indeed they committed any crime, you arrest them, you hand over them to the police for the police to continue with the investigation. But you have no right to take belt and canes and lash people. You have no right, absolutely no right to do that. And you cannot understand what gets into people to do this. And I think nobody can endorse this anywhere in the world. Not even in Afghanistan. You can't do that. That you take people and give them that kind of beatings. Those things ought not to be entertained. So when issues like this crop up, let's deal with that in that manner. I think you linked it to the incident in Advertisements. Advertisements incident, I do believe that the way things were handled, particularly by people who had access to media platforms, and the way people spoke nearly created the kind of challenge that we saw in Advertisements. Because the point is that as soon as this gentleman passed on or was killed, people who had not done any preliminary investigation, had no knowledge about the person and what he does for a living, and what he just came out to say that this gentleman belongs to a particular group, a fits the country or whatever, which was absolutely untrue. That this is a gentleman who is a member of the New Patriotic Party, is a serious activist over there in the constituency. He supports the party, he's done all kinds of things within the constituency, sometimes throwing the officials within the area attention to various things before even Fits the Group or whatever it is was formed. This Fits the Group was birthed after this election. But this guy, the activities of him and having confrontation with even assembly members and all that within his area, dating back to President Mohammed's era. So he's not somebody who belongs to any group. But as soon as this person was killed, nobody knew the basis for which this person was killed and who did it. Somebody in Accra sat here, so a social media activist who belonged to the group, Fits the Group, has been killed. And suggested that it is something that has been done by the government. Without no basis. Now the story is unfolding, getting 3 people have been arrested, and one we understand is the brother of the deceased. That people claim they were eyewitnesses to the whole event. And I think that these are some of the things that we do to ourselves that if we do not take care, would one day create a major problem for us. Because when you go to Rwanda and all these countries that went into a civil war, because an individual sat on radio or television, because of the access to the mass media, said things that were untoward, that people decided to kill each other. And this is what we saw in this second. The massing up, the people who literally decided to pour some petrol to that event did not do us any good. And the next thing is about the military. I mean, you cannot but to condemn the activities of people who shot into the crowd that led to the death of these 2 gentlemen. It ought not to happen at all. But you cannot drag presidents and government and political parties into crimes when they are committed in this fashion. At every point in time, let's isolate the individuals and allow the laws of the land to deal with them. Because we've seen several of such things in our history. I remember in either North Town or South Town in 2013 or 2015, between 2013 and 2015, 3 people were shot and killed by a soldier because they were demonstrating that their roads ought to be fixed. It was reported in the news, but nobody attributed that to President Mahama and that he or the NDC had anything, and no political party even issued a press release on that. Because we knew that in this unfortunate thing has happened and the perpetrators ought to be accosted and dealt with under the law. I remember 2014 March thereabout in Kenyasi, when drivers were demonstrating, the military and the police combined undertook some exercise because they blocked the roads and all that. Eventually, 2 individuals were shot and killed in that exercise. Nobody raised anything and decided to apportion blames and threw it at the doorsteps of political actors and those who are in the helm of affairs. All what everybody spoke about was that the perpetrators ought to be arrested and dealt with under the law. But in recent times, when somebody goes to misbehave, it's the president, it's the government, it's the party in power that is doing that. Even if to the point that when people even soup should get burned or there's even it become too salty, we are told that we ought to heap all the stance of the individual, the actions and inactions on the doorstep of the politician. And I think we need to try and desist from that. It doesn't help. I know the idea is to try and milk it and get political capital out of that. But there are certain things that are so volatile that if you do not take care, we will destroy the nation all in the name of wanting to score political points. Because when you look at the Ejura incident, when you follow the whole activities and what really went on, that now we are being told that the gentleman's brother who was perhaps living in Nigeria and thereabout came in and they have had issues and there are reports of him having been, the mother having reported him to the police in Ejura on 2 different occasions about the guy threatening to kill him and the other son. All these things are now on foot. I think we ought to be careful the way we deal with issues. How we politicians want to be out there, to be seen, to be fighting for the populace without really being calculative of our steps and trying to damage the entire society and creating confusion within the system.
Right. So,
first of all, it is important to extend sympathies to the victims of these brutalities. Victims in Ejura, Ibrahim Mohammed alias Kaka, the 2 others who were shot and killed in the spontaneous protest that erupted a day after when he was being buried. Yesterday's incident. And before yesterday's incident, let me also extend hearty wishes of speedy recovery to those in hospital. We are told that one is in really critical condition at the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital, fighting for his life. We pray that the good Lord will intervene and that they who are hospitalized and injured will be healed. By his stripes we are healed, as we believe as Christians. Then coming to war, we must extend our solidarity, our sympathies, and we must certainly empathize with the victims of the military excesses that we saw. That viral video is very painful to watch. It really must be condemned in no uncertain terms. Randy, you asked the question about the selectivity in the response. I can also add to the list. As we speak, there has been no official recognition that people were shot and killed in the 2020 elections. At least 3 people died in Techiman South. Another died in Odududio. Another young lady died in Savlugu. There were killings in the Ablekuma area. 7 names have been documented. There was an 8th person who was feared dead, but by my research shows that she managed to recover from her injuries in Techiman. These are human lives. And you see, Randy, I've listened to a lot of commentary. People have sought to even justify the military's excesses, that as for the military, they are trained to kill. So if you invite the military, you should expect these things. I totally disagree. I totally disagree. Even in war, there are rules of war. International humanitarian law mandates that even when soldiers are at war, they must protect civilians. Civilians, non-combatants, cannot be targeted. The rules of war, the rules of engagement are very clear. So let's not make excuses for these bad nuts in uniform. That's not how they are trained. That cannot be professionalism. Even during wartime, you cannot rape civilians. Even when soldiers, no matter the side they belong to, get injured, you must protect them. You must care for them. When a soldier surrenders, drops his weapon, you cannot kill the soldier. So I am really worried that you hear increasingly, oh, as for soldiers, what do you expect when you call for reinforcement, when soldiers are trained to shoot and kill? No. That's not the training soldiers receive, that you can just aim at unarmed civilians, shoot and kill them, and because you're a soldier, it can be justified. No, not at all. So we insist, when I say we in Parliament, we take the view, as the NDC in Parliament, that we need a high-stakes committee, an independent commission of inquiry. And if I'm quoting the Constitution correctly, I think a commission in the mode of Article 278, that is the view we take, similar to the one we did with Ayawaso West Wogon, where Article 278, where the commission will have full powers, not a lower ministerial level kind committee, as we have seen the Interior Minister do. And you see, there have been many attempts at reforming our security agencies. I mean, from the Boyce report of 1970, the Justice Archer report of 1993, there have been several reforms, commissions seeking to reform, but the whole buga mentality, because of the colonial history, where there were this importation of men from, the Hausa areas. That's where buga means beat, in Hausa. You've had, and then it was all about heavy-handedness, colonial powers wanting to just instill force. So that tradition seems to have continued. And hard as we have tried, it looks like...
I think the biggest threat in the Fourth Republic has been how the political class has bastardized the security services. Has bastardized the security
services, yes. And
through recruitment, promotions, and appointments.
And that has really exacerbated the situation. I mean, if you look, I have here the Hansard of 3rd March 2021. The Interior Minister's response to our question on recruitment to the security services. Says, addressing concerns of members on why the security services continue to recruit without advertisement in the national dailies and the lack of transparency in the recruitment to the security services in the last 3 years. The nominee explained that every person recruited into any of the security services has responded to an advertisement published in 2018. He explained that during the 2018 recruitment process, over 80,000 people applied, and it was determined that the number of qualified applicants far exceeded the available vacancies. So recruitments are not transparent, and those who applied in 2018. Meanwhile, we have evidence that people completed school 2019, 2020, and got in. So we are reaping these things.
Right.
So
we need to go. Happy 43rd birthday once again to you, Kisia Jabe. And today is the MP is the birthday of the MP for Lazade Kotopo, my MP, Honorable Soa, Rita Soa. Yes, happy birthday to you, MP, as well. Thanks, Richard. And our commiserations once again to you, Sammy. With bus loads. Okay. All right. God willing, we'll be with you next week. Have a pleasant weekend.
You are great. You are great. You are great. You are great. Oh yeah. You are great. Say you are.
Metro TV, insightful and inspiring moments.